RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Hopefully we'll try and make this about 15-20 minutes. We really want to try and get these a lot shorter, so not going to be a huge rant here, but if anything, I just want to make sure I'm on the right page here, so I have to pop on over to the website, make sure that that's working over on YouTube. Anyway, happy beginning of 2024. Here we are. So 2023 is history. Welcome to 2024. Usually, I suppose probably the biggest thing that I'm going to be doing over the next week or so is just simply watching how price action develops here through the month of January. They often say that the January barometer, as the first month of the year goes, so goes the year. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And I have to say, I was kind of surprised to see the negativity in the market right out of the gate. But maybe that's a good commentary on how messed up the world is right now, both sort of domestic politics within respective countries. Of course, the United States has a big election coming up here in November, and this is probably going to be a pretty tumultuous year with regard to that. Also, geopolitics, global stuff. I don't really think it's an issue. And if anything, it almost felt like maybe they were artificially propping the market up, but crude oil caught quite a bid there on the prospects that the Iranian Navy was going to come and save the Yemenis. I think it's Yemen. I don't know. Hutus. In the Red Sea, which frankly speaking is almost laughable. I'm sure the Americans have been looking for a reason to start unaliving Iranians for quite a while. So they go and drive their ships into the Red Sea and tango with the Americans. I'm sure the Americans will be more than happy to send them to their graves. But anyway, that in itself was sort of dominating the headlines here first thing this morning. And I kind of read the news and our dashboard's all fucked up right now, but our CTO and chief site monitor, still under the weather, poor guy. His whole family got violently ill there through the Christmas break. So I haven't really bitched at him too much, but hopefully we'll have this thing operating the way it's supposed to be soon. Anyway, point of the being, reading the news headlines here just from the Associated Press, which I think on balance is not a bad source. Horrific images coming out of Japan, where there was a plane that caught fire on the runway, I suppose. Actually, a few people died, poor people. Actually, I guess that's where Julian is right now, so hopefully he isn't anywhere around there. Anyway, we have this situation, of course, in Israel and Palestine continuing. But when is it not that way? In fact, actually, we've been a bit spoiled the past few years. I remember all growing up. I remember in Lebanon, the American embassy was bombed there in like the early 1980s, and just a ton of Americans were killed. So the more things change, the more they seem to stay exactly the same. Other than that, I'm not really seeing anything news-wise that it's like, oh my God, this is shocking. What I'm just seeing is just sort of coming out of the Christmas break, the professionals back at their desks, and us getting ready for a new trading year. Some of the things that jumped out at me today, US dollar has caught quite a nice bid here. And Mondays, probably this isn't a bad sort of thing for us to do. In fact, I do like the idea that, in the daily brief and then the after party show, we do like Monday, macro Monday. So we'll look at things like the US dollar index and some bigger trends, futures markets, that kind of stuff. Tuesday, actually, today is Tuesday, though, isn't it? So a little bit of a screwy kind of environment. Normally Tuesdays we'd have our CTO Sjord on the call, but like I said, he's very, very under the weather of late and has basically just been bedridden for the past few days. And he's got little kids too. Poor guy. Wednesday, maybe we concentrate on the stock market. And stocks Thursdays should be Julian's day. Yeah, he's free to do whatever the hell he does. And then Friday we have like sort of a free for all special guests, AMA kind of interactive session. So anyway, that's sort of my plan going forward here. But this free video, we really want to try and cut it down to like say 15 minutes or so. Anyway, it being the beginning of the week and beginning of the month, beginning of the year, not a bad idea. Check in on the US dollar. We had a bearish bot setup, which would basically be a risk on sort of vote coming out of the FOMC meeting. That was this event here. And that was on the dot plot. Turns out Fed officials maybe think we're done raising interest rates. And as soon as the market saw that, all the stocks and anything risk on just went through the roof. And of course, the risk off proxy, US dollar index, buying US T bills and stuff and just sitting there in cash, it came off appreciably. And fascinating how it was a technical setup, and you can see the bot entry level and how we literally smacked right into the bot profit objective, put in a nice little doji, and then we've just been literally climbing straight up since. Fascinating how we basically rallied into, and I often talk to you guys, I think I mentioned in the broiler chicken show, at any given point in time, you should expect all markets to retrace to things like 38.2s, and that's basically exactly what this thing did, just doink straight up into that 38.2 to 50% window. Colin, and this, I guess, would be the dump chasers. So anybody who was interested in getting short off of this, which would be getting long off the stock market. Basically, this is one of our, well, actually, and a principal over there at Hero Labs, I think it is. Colin, affectionately like to call this Colin's dump chaser zone between 38.2 and 50%. So also getting some 8s and 9s on the Tom DeMark. So not a big surprise. We had a bit of weakness in the stock market, which of course drove the bid for the US dollar, sort of risk off stocks coming off here. And we also had Bitcoin rally appreciably there. Is Bitcoin now a risk off bet? Yeah, interesting. Maybe that's exhausting itself. Looks like we're starting to get back into some resistance here. So we'll see how this plays out. Long and short of it here, no pun intended, but I would think that the dead cat bounce risk off sort of bet is probably nearing an end. And then also too, if we switch on over to things like the stock market, you can see that sort of risk off with the US dollar ramping up there. You can see how the stock markets all came off here in a big way. And it's fascinating actually to see how the Dow, sort of the boring brick and mortar conservative, seems to be holding up the best. The NASDAQ is really getting its head handed to it today, which is a bit of a surprise. But nonetheless, it is what it is. When I was going through some of the stocks, and of course, the darlings, I always like to keep an eye on, what BlackRock's big holdings are as sort of a proxy for what sort of the 1% is touting. And I saw things like Apple They took Apple up to new highs, and then literally they are just taking it apart today. I'm not quite sure why. Thank you, sir. So as sort of as January goes, so goes the year. I'd be curious to see. Of course, these damn lists are always too long and it takes me forever to just find them. But come on, where the hell are you? Anyway, it's on here somewhere. I'd just be curious to see what their intentions are with Apple. There it is. You can see actually down 584. It was quite a bit worse this morning, but wow, what a way to start the year out. Good old Apple just absolutely puking out there. Also noticed too, speaking of NASDAQ tech stocks, this is another favorite of Mr. Fink and his BlackRock Palo Alto Networks, so networking stock, down a good 1.5%. And then another tech stock, Broadcom, that actually has a very pretty double top breakdown working, also topping out. So is there some sort of message going on here? I don't know. It's interesting. ConocoPhillips oil stock actually gapping higher today. And of course, like we said, first thing out of the gate, first thing this morning, the the crude oil was actually up quite a bit. It has rolled over here through the day, but maybe with these oil stocks as strong as they are, maybe we find that they start catching a bid. Did see how Tesla was down right out of the gate here this morning, but you can see they are clawing him back. Begrudgingly, slowly but surely, but actually up a better part of a buck on the day. What's fascinating about this guy, of course, is that we were touting a while ago the outside downside weekly bearish key reversal on Tesla that was actually registered back there in July. So even though the broader stock market has actually done very, very well since that end of October pivot, things like the EVs really haven't done that much. From what I understand, actually, there's supposed to be, a lot of the tax breaks and stuff that people were enjoying, doing the whole electric vehicle stuff. A lot of that's supposed to be rolled back here in 2024. So I'm wondering whether something like Tesla is like yesterday's story. I do find it fascinating that we did get that outside downside key reversal, and basically the stock has done nothing since then. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell, as they say. I suppose, obviously over in crypto, it's been an interesting day. Our conversations yesterday out of things like the broiler chicken show, where I guess it was the day before yesterday, where that we were stuck in a sideways range and it was coiling, building up a lot of energy. And that energy was finally expressed to the upside here late yesterday, right around 1 or 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The market just exploded higher. And I guess that's 1 or 2 o'clock my time. As you can see, I actually have a double top breakdown here working on the 30-minute chart here. So you can see what I'm doing here right now. Hey, there you go. Can you hear that, Chris? Holy fuck. Could you hear that? Wow, somebody's got some fucking drill or something going. Anyway, so that's just sitting treading water. But as I had said, like yesterday, I think it was about sort of halfway through the day. Wow, that's brutal. The market broke out violently, and it was just a really quite a question as to whether we were going to rally up into reload short zones and then just stall out. So you can actually see we had a 2.618. Market rallied up into that level, and then we just stalled out. I suppose this is probably an omen because I can't even hear myself think right now. pretty pathetic. The amount of money you have to spend to live in this city of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. You have to put up. Oh yeah, so somebody can say, "Yeah, that's really loud." And so I'm not quite sure what to do here. Hmm. Uh, since it's so loud, maybe we just leave the free broadcast at that today, and I'll wait till these guys are done. Anyway, as you can see, the market did move up quite a bit here. So on the higher time frames, I really wouldn't be too bearish. I'm just having fun. This is just basically playing this range. We had a confirmed bearish divergence. You can see the push to new highs here was right up into a 4669 on quite a divergence there in momentum. And I love it when MACD can't even get back to the zero line and is embedded negatively. You can also see the divergence in RSI, and you can see Willie is stupidly overbought. So this is actually what we call at TRI, or at least what I call. I don't know what anybody else here does. But I affectionately call this setup the El Tangonator. Let's see if I can just show you. So there is the 50% level of this range. So there is the bottom of the range. There's the top end of the range. So your profit objective should be this 50% level. Why don't we even move that to there? And we'll move that to there. And I'm just letting that work away. So the point being that's who knows? I mean, maybe it just goes and busts the top out, but there is an M there. And of course, what are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at you? So I would be careful here. It's a little bit dangerous there in crypto land. Looking at altcoins, maybe we'll just finish off the video with a quick boo over here. I was reporting to you guys, and actually, I think it's probably a good way for us to frame this is looking at this total market. That's probably the best way to see this. The only question is, do I have the charts? Yeah, there we go. So we had talked recently about how we were coming into trade location, which I think is still valid. Yeah, there we go. So 2.618 it seems logical. Reload zone 61.8, good old mountain man. There's Brian's favorite fib up there. So technically we are in what I would call a reload short zone up top here. So really, talking about trade location, I think you can make the argument this isn't a terrible place to go hunting shorts. So the question ultimately was, and when we did the video like on Sunday, it's just really a question of, do we start getting things like indicator confirmation? And you notice that we're still sitting with a whole bunch of potentials. We got a couple confirms, the MFI and the chicken money flow, so basically volume related. If anything, that should be a good warning to all of you, right? Money flow, chicken money flow. In essence, the buying pressure is slowing down here. And given the nosebleed levels that we're at, that should make sense. Ideally, we'd like to see this turn into confirms. And if you have like 6 or 7 confirmed bearish divergences, you better be careful. So we're still sitting at a lot of potential, not a lot of confirmed. And, we have to get to that point. And then, of course, like I usually do with you guys, you can see how the MACD, in fact, I wouldn't even call this MACD confirmed yet. I would say it's a potential. Well, actually, maybe did that go through that low? Looks awfully similar, right? So probably have to see MACD break down. You could actually see that this thing actually start spitting out W's here. And then what I'd like to see, of course, is the moving average nicely embedded in the stupid category, which to all intents and purposes it is. So put it all together. I remember I showed you that Bitcoin lower time frame, the El Tangonator. Well, that would basically be the same thing here. So we want to see those indicators get into divergence. And then, of course, finally, what we, to frame the whole thing is we want to see an M actually come in to justify actual trade. And that frames risk. Actually, ironically enough, just exactly the way this is working here. So off the higher time frames, there's nothing really going on here today. If anything, again, what we have to ask, and we just moved to new highs here, so that on balance is a good sign. But the problem here is, you see where the W's are. Interesting how there is the bot entry level off of this particular setup. So it shouldn't surprise anybody. Where we hit, there is the classic bot objective. Now we're into Alt A, B, C, Ds. Where does this thing actually want to peter out? It's anybody's guess. But I would say that to set up actually a new trade and a new idea, we're going to need to see some consolidation. There's no way I can think about a new trade with this kind of price action. Too dangerous. So if anything, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to break down. At the very least, what I'd like to see, if we could, is, can we just please get some consolidation? And then maybe that sets up the next leg higher. So, I suppose just to finish this off, a couple names that I've been watching lately that I think are good proxies for sort of the altcoins sort of maturation in its move. So this is Matic, and you can see it's fairly heavily in the money and moves stop to trailing levels starting to get hit. I suppose if we do actually M out, it might be wise just to hop off, take the small profit, and just wait for new W's to form. But you can see, if this thing does start to M out, then, be careful. That probably is a sign that we're nearing done. And then there's another one, Link, that I was showing you guys, which I think is a similar type scenario. Of course, can never get these damn symbols when I want them. But, it's basically the same kind of conversation. We're not really in the value trade anymore. That was way down here. Big pops, sell halves on doubles. Now we're asking whether this trend just continues along its merry way. And you can see basically this thing sitting up a whopping $4 right now off of the level, or in essence, hurry up and do nothing. If anything, a little bit concerning, look at all the divergences that are potentially coming in here. So, Jesus, there it goes again. If anything, that's probably our note that we should probably leave the free video off on. We're not really breaking down. We're slowly working our way higher. But just understand, all it's going to take is somebody to sneeze or somebody to say the wrong thing, and we could very easily break here. And we've come an awful long way, right? Whoops, what the hell's all this? Not quite sure what I did there. Anyway, on this example, if you just draw the most simplest of trend lines, I mean, I suppose we could go all the way back here. But if you just draw really, just keep it simple, stupid, don't overthink this, right? You can see where trend line support is. So could we use some time to do a bit of backfilling here? Wouldn't be shocking. But as I said, right now, if anything, if you are mapping this out and you're kind of like, okay, where are we in the cadence? Could you argue that we're getting near sort of tops of trading ranges? Sure. Look left. Interesting. We have this key high here. Could we maybe have to go through a period where we pull back and make like an inverted head and shoulders? And this becomes a shoulder reference over here? Sure. That could very easily be the case. I don't know whether we're ready to really puke out here. I would think that this is more into the summer. And I actually put a note out to people yesterday on the website, and I saw that it was picked up by our marketing department. Oh, God, this is terrible. Anyway, I should probably leave off on that. You can see where reload zones are. And you can see where Brian's big fat fib is. So if we do need to correct and into the spring, sell in May and walk away, I actually would expect prices to come down into this zone for another buying window. And that's been the general message that I put out is, we've waited for 2 years. Like if we look at Bitcoin, we've had to sit here and do nothing while all this played itself out. We've had the dead cat bounce, bringing basically the market out of the oversold condition. And now, if anything, pullbacks are buying opportunity. So there's a lady having fun in the next room next door. That's what Cotter's saying here. So just be aware of that. And ironically enough, if we actually do get this dump sometime into the spring, maybe even the early summer, I would consider that an incredible buying opportunity. So there's your update. My apologies for the wonderful sound from next door. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins a race. And I guess we'll pop on over and we'll talk to the community and the after party and do a little bit of sort of. Actually, there's a bunch of things that we do need to review. TBG here is now in the call, and he's going to be sort of our quarterback of the El Salvador meetup we're planning here for the middle of February, which I guess is in about a month and a half. So if you are interested, we definitely have to circle around and chit chat a little bit about that. And also too, for whatever it's worth, and actually maybe I'll just mention it here in closing. We have our upcoming school term coming up for the level 1 program. And of course, we like to have a nice little raffle, PMA for the win, give away a nice free spot. Let's see, where is the YouTube page? Is that you over there? Nope. So I'll put this in the, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this, but I'll put this in the YouTube. I guess maybe Chris, can you put it in the description? I don't know if that's the way we do this. All right, you're awesome. I'm not quite sure what page I'm on here though. Yeah, I kind of messed up. But anyway, so be sure to check out the link in the comments below, all that kind of fun stuff. Tell me what you think that wonderful background sound sounded like to you. And we'll officially deem it that based on what you guys think. So anyway, have yourselves a great day. Let's head on over to the after party. As I said, we have to touch base with TBG and Adam and talk maybe a little bit of macro, and maybe we'll dig into the January barometer stuff a little bit more detail. Okay, have yourselves a great day. My apologies for the horrible sound background. Not much I can do about it. Living in communist China, Canada. I guess just got to get used to it. Life sucks here. And if anything, what a great analogy of what life in Canada is like right now. All right, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.